I don't really have any real reason or rationale for believing what I do about what happens when we die. But for some reason, I have always had this kind of underlying belief in reincarnation. And again, I don't really know why I believe that, or why that thought has been in my brain. The first time I remember thinking about it or discussing it or even being aware of the idea of reincarnation, I was, I think, 6 or 7 years old, and I was talking to a friend of mine, and I was, what I now realize, trying to explain to him the concept of reincarnation. And, at the time, I had no idea what I was talking about. I was 6 or 7, and I was kind of stumbling through my words. But I remember having this conversation with my friend as a little kid and saying things like, oh, do you ever feel like, maybe there's someone else, like, your thoughts are someone else's thoughts, or like you've lived like another life, there's another life like before your life. Again, I was 6 or 7. I had no idea what I was saying. But looking back now, I realized that what I was trying to describe was reincarnation. And I do not know where that thought would have come from. My parents were not religious, so I wouldn't have learned or taken any of those ideas from them. I doubt that any, kids shows or anything that I was watching at the time was discussing reincarnation. I definitely wasn't reading anything in the topic. I was 6. Who knows if I could even read at that point. But it was this idea that I tried to explain to my friend when I was 6 or 7 years old. So ever since then, I've always kind of had this weird underlying belief that when we die, we do get reincarnated into something or someone. I don't, again, have any real reason to believe that. And I don't know that I live my life any differently because of that belief. But that is something that I've always thought about subconsciously, sometimes very consciously. And yeah, I don't know. I hope that if reincarnation is it, if that is what happens when we die, that when I move on from this life, I do get reincarnated into something or someone nice. And if that's not the case, if that's not what happens when we die, well, I guess we'll see.